Thank you very much. All right, I think I'm live. I don't think I've ever had two microphones on, so I've got a lot of wires hanging out from me, so I don't think I did a very good job of hiding them. First off, let me say thank you all very much for letting me come speak today. I always say that first, what y'all are doing is a great thing, and getting to network and meet people and talk about the marketing world, and you know, hopefully y'all will get something useful out of what I'm talking about today, which really the topic is how do you make yourself known to the world, if that's kind of the way to say it. I grew up, I graduated from Alabama, and as I tell most people, I'm actually jealous of what a lot of y'all do every day. I majored in marketing. Marketing is probably what I would tell you is my true love, and I kind of, you know, my side job is the finance world that I have to deal with every day. But I always say in my second life, you know, I want to come back and work for a marketing firm, and I think a lot of what we do at Duncan-Williams is different, and we'll kind of talk about that. But a lot of that comes from my marketing background. So really, when I get to come to a luncheon like this, I would probably rather be sitting out there learning from y'all than me sitting up here telling y'all something. But it is an honor to be here. So a couple of things about the firm and my family. My father and mother both grew up in rural West Tennessee. My dad was from Bolivar. My mom was from a small town called Dingberg, Tennessee, which is truly close your eyes, gravel roads, walk both ways uphill to school, the whole thing. They both moved to Memphis. My father, after serving in the military, went to the University of Memphis, or Memphis State at the time, graduated in 2 years. His goal in life was to be a branch manager at a bank. And at that time, he was working at First National Bank, which is First Tennessee now. And by a chance meeting on the elevator, literally a chance meeting on the elevator, he got in the bond business. And the gentleman that hired him, I guess the elevator was slow, so they had time to talk back then. But you know, as they were going up 3 or 4 floors, he said, you know, I'd like for you to come talk to us about the bond business. And my dad said, no, I want to be a branch manager. And he got a call the next day that said, if you want to stay at First National, I suggest you go and talk to the guy in the bond business. And he did, and that's kind of how Duncan-Williams started. He worked at First National for 4 or 5 years, became the manager there, and then opened the company in 1969, April 1st, which I think is another, would kind of tell you the dry humor of my dad. And his wedding anniversary, my mom and dad's wedding anniversary, was actually April 1st too. So, you know, that's kind of the background of that. As mentioned, I have a wonderful wife who is hugely supportive, and I think we all know in the business world, if you don't have that, it's impossible. I'm on the road a lot. I probably spend as much time out of the office as I'm actually in Memphis at the office, and luckily have gotten involved in the community, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I have great people around me, and that obviously starts at home, and 3 great kids, a 6th grade daughter, a 5th grade son, and a 1st grade daughter. So throw in all that, and it's a busy time. I always say I had a whole head of hair, and none of it was gray before all this stuff started. So, but today, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can make sure the world takes notice of you, your business, and some combinations of the two. So really, there's 3 easy, but I think extremely effective principles you can follow to make sure the world finds you. These ideas aren't hard to remember. They're not hard to implement. It's really more common sense. But I will tell you, when I make a business decision, personally for the company or personally for myself, you know, I try to make sure that I consider these principles that I'm about to talk about. So also, anytime if there's anything I say that you disagree with or want to ask about, raise your hand, get up, scream and yell, do whatever you need to do, and then hopefully at the end we'll have some time if there are any questions. But all right, so the first principle is make sure that people are looking for you or your business can find you. Right? So make sure that the people who are looking for you or who want to find you can find you. And that's marketing 101 common sense. But seriously, I say that because there's really no better way to market yourself or the company you work for than appealing to the people that are looking for you. So we're a financial services firm. We know that everybody at some point in time, whether it be yourself personally or whether it be your company, needs financial services, needs financial advice. So we want to make sure that the people in Memphis, when you're looking for a company to meet their investment needs, that we're on the radar, that we're on the company's radar, we're on the decision maker's radar, we're on the individual's radar. So from a personal standpoint, I need to know who Duncan Williams, the company, is. I need to know what we offer. I need to know why we're successful, so I can make effective communication when people are talking to me about the company. It can't just be, I'm president of Duncan Williams. I've got to be involved in every bit of that. That's not just deciding how much inventory we're going to carry. It's not deciding where we're going to open an office. It's literally deciding what our ads are going to do and what they're going to say. You know, we hope we make it easy for people around town to find Duncan Williams. I think, you know, hopefully y'all have seen our billboards, the other media types we use. So we want to make sure our presence is known here. We make it a priority to continually project our company and our brand. You know, there's millions and millions of brands out there, and I think it's important as ever to make sure that your brand is as strong as possible. So when we put our name out there for everyone to see, the message is simple, right? Our tagline, and I hope all of y'all have seen it around, is simple. It's do well. And I literally, all of us as employees, we wear it every day on our key cards. It's 2 words, but it means a whole lot to us, and it really tells us what our company's about. So our belief is this: if our customers do well, our employees will do well. If our employees do well, then our company will do well. And maybe most importantly, if our company does well, then the communities we're involved in are going to do well. And it also, I think, tells our customers or our potential customers that we're invested in them well beyond their finances. So our motto hopefully our motto tells people who are looking for financial advice or people that just want to support the city that we're interested in more than their money. We're actually interested in them as people. We're interested in them as their company. We want to see everybody that we're involved with do well. So 2 simple words, but they mean a whole lot to us, and I think it kind of tells you who we are. And I'll give you an example. We had a customer, we just signed up a new customer who just come in town 6 months ago, and on his way to work every day, he rode by one of the signs on Poplar that says do well, and we changed it to, during Live at the Garden stuff, I think it said jam well for the dragon boat races, paddle well, and I saw one today that says film well for the Indy Memphis Films. Well, he kept seeing this do well stuff. Well, there's nothing on there that really says anything about investments. And he finally asked somebody, you know, what is this do well stuff? Who is, you know, what is going on? And somebody said, oh, that's a financial firm. And he said, well, there's nothing about the financial firm on there. And anyway, 2 people in his office told him about the company and knew some of our background. Anyway, he literally called into the office and is now a customer. So it's not always as easy as a billboard. I mean, we know that, and there's hundreds of other ways to promote yourself. But I think it's important that, you know, you think outside the box, that you ask people for advice, that you have to be proactive. You just can't sit there and expect it to come to you. If it wasn't for the billboard, this customer would probably be doing business somewhere else. So, and if it wasn't for the do well, he may not have ever paid attention. It may have just been another billboard that he went by. So secondly, you need to do things that set you and your business apart from the other guys, or as I say, from the bad guys, from the competition. That's another marketing 101 thing. But, you know, if you kind of look at it a different way, every dry cleaner can do a good job, or for the most part. My wife says some are better than others, but every dry cleaner, for the most part, does the same thing. So imagine that person who did the first drive-through cleaners, right? He changed the way the world operates. And then the pickup cleaners, they pick it up at your house now. Those are things that still the dry cleaner, but it helps you make that selection who you're going to. When you're going to a liquor store, not that, you know, we frequent liquor stores, but if you happen to go by a liquor store, you know, how many times have you bought something because the bottle's cool, or the name on the wine's the neat thing, or the art thing's good? And I don't want to show a hands on that, but I would say probably, you know, I'll admit that I have bought something before because it has a neat label on it, or the bottle looks cool. So while people come up with gimmicks that fade and are poked fun of, you know, useful ideas, attractive ideas that set companies apart, and ones that can push people to in your direction are important. And there are things you want to do to kind of set yourself apart. So let's talk about Chick-fil-A. You know, how did Chick-fil-A become different than some other fried chicken joint, right? they decided to put bread on 2 pieces of chicken and came up with a famous chicken sandwich. That was it. That's what they did. But you look at their business now, it's absolutely booming. Their service is better. They pay people more. Their stores are clean. They are truly fast food. They do things different than the other models. They also, if you think about it, they're closed on Sundays, which is probably or could be the busiest day for fast food things, and they still blow away everybody else. So this genius decides to put 2 pieces of bread on chicken. He pays people a little bit more. He actually creates the food fast, and everybody says thank you with a smile, and guess what? He's got the best fast food thing in the world. It's not rocket science, right? It's just a good business plan and doing it the right way and executing. So what can you do to set yourself apart? What can you do to make your people, to make people take notice of what your company is? So one thing that we do that I think is different than most companies, I know a lot different than most financial firms, is we strongly encourage our employees to be involved with three civic, I guess, companies or nonprofit or religious organizations, 3 civic organizations in the city. So when we hire somebody, literally part of their job description is within the first 100 days there that they get involved with 3 civic organizations in the city. And it has been an amazing thing. We hired a rookie class 2 years ago in August, and I called it speed dating, but we brought in over 100 nonprofits, and they had 3 to 5 minutes to kind of tell their story to this group of 25 just unbelievable young people that were in this room. Within 30 days, there were 76 different organizations that were represented by Duncan Williams employees. That's a difference maker. That's the way to set yourself apart. I want my employees to know what it takes to make a difference. I want them to give back to the community they live and work in. If they're invested in this community, I really believe that they'll begin to see the great changes that are happening. So once again, as I suggest they take the time to give back to someplace here in town they care about. You know, that can be through a mentoring program, that can be at St. Jude, that can be leading the Boy Scouts troop, that can be coaching a team at like MAM or at your church or whatever that may be. People are encouraged to serve Memphis outside their office in their home. And, you know, most people who know me or know anything about me know that I love Memphis and I love my hometown. I mean, this is a place that I think has so much potential and there's so many great things happening. And I know we have some chamber representatives here, but there are a lot of really, 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 really great things happening here. And I think so many times employees get worried about the bottom line, and I want our guys and gals to understand the impact they can have on others and the ripple effect that they can cause in this city. So we do things different. I mean, there's no question about it. But our dedication to service and philanthropy is what I think truly sets us apart from other firms. I'm proud that this is how we stand out in the market. And it's not about looking for recognition. It's really about making sure our city and the areas around it continue to grow and to throw in the cheap thing, to continue to do well. Without this community, we wouldn't be the company we are today. And without people like y'all supporting us in the things that we support, we wouldn't have the community we have. So that's kind of the way we set ourselves apart from other financial firms, and really we think from other businesses in general. And so finally, you need to have a name that's familiar. You must do things that make you and your company recognizable to people who might not already know you. So once again, I go back to community. I think that's the best way to get your name out there for that. It's to meet people, to make connections like y'all did today. I thought it was great sitting around for 30 minutes watching the cards being exchanged, the introductions that were happening, call me if I can do this, and I heard that, and that's to me the way you go about doing it. It is, as I say, billboards are good, sponsor stuff's good, but by God, getting out and shaking somebody's hand and being at these type of things are hugely important. So make sure everyone knows your name and your business's name, even if they always don't know what you do. Obviously, it's important these days. Everyone's so overloaded with names and companies. You want to make sure that your name of your company is not one that people choose to ignore. There are easy, logical things you can do that don't come across as repetitive or as irritating. So let's talk about a few of those. One way is obviously that in the world we live in is the social media. And a great social media presence these days is really hard to ignore. You've got a chance to create a presence that is convenient and really free. If you look up tips on how companies are using social media, how they effectively maneuver the social media, you can kind of guide your company in that process. Once again, the financial industry has been slow in getting in the social media world, a lot because of regulations that we have. But we were literally one of the first financial firms to start using the LinkedIn, the Facebook, and Twitter and all that. As I say, it's amazing how much 140 characters or a short Facebook post can do for your business. Another useful way is obviously get your name and brand recognition out, is attaching yourself through sponsorship. So, that can be done literally at a bake sale. I mean, that can be done at a 5K race. That can be done at a night at the Levitt Shell. We've been blessed that we've kind of associated ourselves with really 4 things, and it's done in a systematic way, but it's also done with organizations that we truly think are special to Memphis. So the Dragon Boat races are downtown, and then you've got Indy Memphis, which is midtown, and you've got Live at the Garden, which is East Memphis, and then the Germantown Performing Arts Center that we now have named after the company is the Germantown, that area. So we basically have our name going in events that cover the whole city. And once again, it's great organizations, it's great people. If you look at Live at the Garden this year, there were over 45,000 tickets sold to that. If you look at the Dragon Boat races, the last 2 years, it's been the single biggest day Mud Island's ever had. Over 10,000 people come and watch people row a canoe up and down the river and beat on a drum. And if you haven't been there, it is really worth going to look at. But amazing, 50 teams, so literally 1,000 people rowing, 20 people in a boat, and it's just crazy. Indy Memphis has now been named one of the top 10 independent film festivals in the country. It is getting unbelievable recognition, and our help in that is providing them the ability to get better movies, to get better people in. And then GPAC, which, to be honest with you, I didn't know much about GPAC until we had the opportunity. It is really, truly, nothing touches the Orpheum, but it is a very special place to go watch something, go watch a performance. So if you haven't been out there, go do it. But we sponsor local events because they provide a service to the city. They help raise awareness and also for good causes. But having our name attached to the great organizations and partnerships throughout Memphis, gives us the ability to make our name familiar, as I said, all the way from the river, all the way out to Germantown. And then throw our name in on the building that lights up in blue at night. And so if you go down Poplar, by guy, we've got it covered all the way from the river out east. And hopefully some of y'all have seen in the past, and from a marketing standpoint, it was a very brave thing for us to do, but some of our Live at the Garden promotional videos, so some have seen them. If you haven't, you can go to YouTube, Duncan Williams Live at the Garden video, and y'all get a good laugh this afternoon. But that's another way of doing things that are different. We had the mayors involved, we had some great charities involved and raised money for charities. I sang on live camera, which is scary, and I'm in Superman pajamas. There's all kind of good stuff in there. So, once again, it's way different than most financial firms would be doing, but it differentiates ourselves, right? It lets people who are going to say, well, that's crazy, Duncan Williams, but their firm does a good job, I hope. And I know we've got a few customers in here that we were talking to earlier, but work is supposed to be fun, but you definitely have to go out and make yourself a little different. So I'll take a minute or two before questions, and I definitely, if y'all have any, want to answer any of them, then I can, and I may ask some back. But, I grew up watching my dad run the company. He passed away in '89 when I was 21 years old. And that was a time, obviously, you don't really know what in the heck's going to happen. And us just celebrating our 45th anniversary. So the company's actually been around, for lack of a better word, for 25 years since my father passed away. And there were a lot of people, probably including myself, that on May 17, 1989, we didn't know what in the hell was going to happen. We didn't know how we were going to get from there to there. My mom started running the firm. We had attorneys. We had great people and still have great people. But the way we've changed, the way we've grown is by marketing, and marketing smart, and marketing to people who, in a way that's different. We could just do the plain old boring marketing, and I don't think we would have the 15 officers around, than the 230 employees that we have, and the things that we're able to do in the community. We wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't market ourselves the right way. We've made mistakes during that process, but those are the ones you just look at and go, that was a mistake, change, you go do what you got to do. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes. But he ran a great business. He was proud of what he did, and he wanted to show people that he was capable of handling their financial needs. And my dad was definitely not near as outgoing as I am. He, in fact, I'm sure he looks down and just shakes his head and says, I don't know where you learned that from, but what I really learned, probably most important, is he knew it was extremely important for people to trust you, and he knew how important it was for your customers to always know you had their best interest at heart. And I think you can do that at the same time you're doing your marketing. And I think that's, what I would always tell you is I would advise everybody in here to find that someone you respect, someone that runs a business or runs a firm or has a job that, you look at and say they do a good job. Go talk to them. Go ask them questions. Go ask them if you can actually shadow them. You'll be surprised how many people are open to sitting and spending time with you and just answering your questions about things. I think Memphis, more than any community that we're associated with, their leaders are open. And, I've been lucky to be in situations where I've been able to call great leaders of this city and literally go spend a day with them. And them just welcome it. They want this group of people marketing this city. They want y'all to be out there spreading the good news. They want all your companies to be successful. So, don't be afraid to call somebody and ask the questions. If they've made a company or if they made a personal brand successful in one person's eye, chances are they can teach you probably a heck of a lot more than I can sit up here and teach you. But don't be afraid to ask. So, with that, I'm going to shut my comments down and be glad to answer any questions you have about marketing or how we've made ourselves successful in the world or known to the world or whatever it may be. Yes, ma'am.
Duncan, you mentioned social media, and today a lot of research shows that most purchase decision makers have researched online your company and your competitors.
Yep.
And are about 78% of the way down the sales process before they talk to you. So in this notion of being where your customers are, how do you treat your web presence, your email marketing, and your interaction with people who visit your website but haven't yet spoken with you?
It's a hugely important question. And I don't know if hugely, is that a good Alabama English word? I'm not sure, but we can play football every once in a while, but not English. I will tell you this, we're still learning that process. Like I said, the financial industry is really behind the times. Because of regulation, we were kind of the last ones to stick our toe in the water. But what we found is, because you can get so much information from people who come to visit, you can find out who they are really, and then you're able to pretty much direct market to those people and reach out to them in a non-invasive way. We noticed you were on our site looking at municipal bonds. We'd love to talk to you privately about that, or personally, or give us a call, or we'll send information like that. So it's only going to get more. The millennials will make sure that they don't buy anything without looking at it on their phone probably before they buy it. We sure don't have all the answers. We have gone out and hired firms to help us. I think that's the other thing I would say is there are great people out there who know that world, the social media world, unbelievably.
Memphis firms?
There are Memphis firms. We've been, Red Deluxe has done a lot with us, and that's a free plug. Martin and them can give me something. But they have helped us find firms out there that help us with our social media and how we're putting it together. And in fact, in our wealth management division, which we just started a few years ago, and what I think will be our fastest growing part of the business over the next decade, so much of it is based on the website. So we have live interviews. We keep it fresh. Everything, it changes every single day. It's also marketing about communities and all that stuff. So yes, ma'am, it's important. It's important for everybody, I think, for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
And how much of your business is institutional versus individual customers?
Right now, it's probably 80-20. 80% institutional, 20% individual.
Social media, do you have two social media streams for institutional versus?
Most of the institutional stuff doesn't pay attention to the social media. They may, if there's, like today with the market, I'm sure most of y'all may have seen the stock market was acting crazy, but more importantly, I mean, the bond market was screaming, was way up. And so a 10-year bond that we base everything on, yields were at 220 yesterday, went below a 2 today. That was big. So institutionally, we'll get stuff out like that, but they see it on their screens already. Most of the social media will be for the individuals, and as we continue to grow that, we'll continue, our presence on the that will continue to grow, have to grow from that side, but yep, sure. Yes, sir.
Not so much a question, but a comment that, as you mentioned, in a traditionally conservative category, even though you say it was because of regulation, I think it's a lot because of character, I very much admire the way that you've been able to market yourself as a human,
Right.
loose, fun group of people who are also very competent professionals. And I think all the things you were talking about today about how to differentiate yourself, I think you do a very good job of that.
Well, thank you. Let me tell you, it's important, and I say that, and I get goosebumps as I say it. You know, I think it's a company's responsibility to do what we do. I don't take a day for granted, and you know, people can see through a line of bull if you're out there giving it. And you can come up with the best slogan, you can come up with the best logo, and Steve's a great example of this, and I will say it. The Liberty Bowl is what it is because of hard work and the way they market, and they're true people. And so next month you'll have, you know, Harold, I'm glad I'm before him and not after him, but you know, he loves what he's doing, right? He truly loves what he's doing. He gets out there, he's on the radio shows, Steve's the same way. And you know, we have to do that. I mean, this to me is an honor to be here to talk to y'all, and I say that in all seriousness. Yes, I'm out promoting Duncan Williams, but if I can help one person in this room or one person in this city to say, you know, look at that fool, he'll get up and do a video to promote a financial firm, and we should try this, then I think what we're doing is successful. But it means a lot, and you know, we really spend a lot of time making sure that we're doing the right things in the city, for sure. Did I see one more? Yes, ma'am.
Real important question. How did you ever come up with the bragging phrases?
Well, I can't take credit. Our marketing guys came to me and I called them idiots, really. I said, you expect me to sponsor something, a canoe race on the Mississippi River? Is that what you're saying? And they said, yes, sir. And I said, I'd better see some more information. But when we first started a few years ago, there were like 40 of them around the country. And it's already up to like 80. It is a huge growing, it's a huge team building experience. There's literally 20 people rowing, and you have to row. I mean, you're rowing almost, I think it's a quarter mile, and it sounds easy, but it is not easy. And you practice twice a week, so you're out there with your employees, and you know, we've had 2 or 3 boats every year, and they obviously have their, you know, wagers going on. And you know, this year our boat's name was Dunk Dynasty, and everybody having the camo and the beards, and you know, we did all that, and so you know, it's all about, we call it Olympic Village, but every organization that's there has tents. I mean, FedEx I think had 3 teams this year, you know, and independent banks gotten real involved, Lipscomb Pitts, and then like even PDS, the schools have gotten real involved because the coaches, they all want to beat each other, and the CrossFit teams keep winning the thing, so I don't know what we're going to do about that. But yeah, it was one of those things that they just said, it's good, it's different, and it really has been, I mean, if you look at the last 2 years, well over 20,000 people down at Mud Island, which is another great thing we have that doesn't get used a whole lot. So luck, basically, good smart people, and me saying yes, I guess, and not asking too many questions. Yes, ma'am.
I would imagine that your audience has several different segments, people at different stages of life in their financial planning, and also business owners, you know, wealthy individuals,
Right.
people who are planning for retirement. Can you tell me how your marketing, how you flex flex your marketing to recognize the fact that it's not one size fits all in terms of the needs in your product mix?
Well, I think it goes back to who we are as a firm. I think we are a firm that is truly of the people for the people. I was at Morgan Stanley visiting with them 2 weeks ago in New York, and they won't accept you, they won't even talk to you if you don't have $15 million of liquid net assets. I mean, they don't even want you to be a customer. I mean, that, I was just like, I can't even imagine, right? So we have to make sure that people understand that whether you have $50,000 to invest or $50 million to invest, it's still the same. You're just as important. We sit down, you go through the same steps, you meet with the same type of advisor. It's just zeros, right? But your 50,000 is just as important as that person's 50 million. And you can say it, but if you don't live it and you don't prove it to your customers, then, you know, they won't come. So the marketing has to be, we can handle, you know, we like to say we're Main Street, we're a Main Street firm with, you know, Wall Street ability. But that's really what you got to do. You got to make sure that people understand. I mean, like companies with their 401ks, you would be shocked how many 401ks, I'm not going to say are mismanaged, but that are, you know, not well or managed the wrong way. And so, because they're not asking for help. And so, you know, it's an area we're trying to get into more. It's just the small businesses to help let them know that, you know, their small 401ks are just as important as a big 401k. So marketing is definitely, you've got to generalize it down, I think, to say we're here for everybody. You know, we don't care. There's no limit. You don't have to have a certain amount. You're going to have the same ability to do what you want to do if you've got 50,000, 5,000, 50,000, you know, 50 million. So
just to make sure I understood, is what you're saying, so in that example, 401ks
Yep.
for businesses, that's a very narrow specific segment. Are you saying that you handle that mostly with direct sales as opposed through to marketing specifically to that segment through channels that reach?
it'll be
that
both. So
segment?
we would market and we would say, Duncan Williams, this is what we do. This is what we can do for your company. And some of y'all will see it coming out because there'll be mailers. There'll be direct marketing to that. And then the financial advisors would follow up and say, mostly to a CFO or somebody, you know, we'd love to come talk to you, you know, no strings attached, and see if you're interested. But, I mean, it's amazing how many people out there, you know, 401ks that aren't being handled, and it's because the big firms really they don't want to deal with it. They just don't want to deal with it. And that's where we think, I always say, you know, 10 guys or gals with 100,000 is the same as one with 1 million. So, you know, we just bring it and we're going to make it happen. That's the way we go. So, but it's a great question, and I think you got to direct market on certain things, but you still got to let them know what your firm's all about and what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank y'all very much. It's an honor to be here.